Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. It's probably the last video for quite some time that you're going to see in my basement setup. We're going to have a big renovation down here. I might do one after the renovation. It depends how time stacks up, since I don't really have a ton of time anymore. Writing 2 books, editing another one, and I'm sketching out a third book, so that demands a lot of time. Plus, I'm being a little more social lately, at least online. No, what this is about is a very fun trick that I'm watching the ice cream person play on the neighborhood. Now, for years, we have had a very inconsistent ice cream person. He doesn't come on a route. He doesn't come on any particular days. And I say he, sometimes it's a she, sometimes it's a he, but more times it's been a he rather than a she. So let's just say they. They have been coming around to every single side street, stopping and serving people and going on. Now, I don't have a problem with this. The ice cream truck is not actually that big and is certainly a hell of a lot more qualified to make those tight turns than a lot of the delivery trucks I see out there, like major couriers and stuff like that. But this ice cream driver this year is a little bit smarter. Having a 10-year-old girl who loves ice cream, she thinks it's neat. She goes out, gives him $5, $10, depending on how big she wants it, and gets herself an ice cream. For those of you who have been on my social media, I put up a picture of her with an ice cream bigger than her head. So they certainly don't skimp on the toppings. If you haven't seen it, just imagine it bigger than a 10-year-old person's head. And they spent the last 4 roundabouts, going almost door to door. If they saw a kid running up or whatever it is, they would stop. And I get the idea. They've been out to a convention or a show or whatever it is during the day, and they're coming back and they're just trying to use up their ice cream. It's a smart business practice. Because if you sell it, you don't got to clean it. Because I don't know what the regulations are for ice cream, but I suspect you can only keep it for a couple days. Now, this guy, like I said, usually this person, usually this time of year, they come by like once or twice, because it was a fairly hot week last week. And yeah, little kids love ice cream. Heck, adults love ice cream. Who doesn't love ice cream, aside from the lactose intolerant? No matter what, today because I don't know if it was the male or the female or any employee driving, they did something different. They drove around all the houses and then went and parked in a central location. Now, my little girl came back in and said, "Shh, I'm not chasing him." She loves her ice cream, but she's not going to run all over Hell's Half Acre to try to get it. Smart girl. I like that. She's showing self-restraint. But I realized what he was doing. Like I said, he was parking just out of view, and I may show her in the future, I may not. It is, for most of the neighborhood, it's not that bad to get to. For us, I can see the person driving the truck being gone by the time we get there, just because of the location that we live in. But you see what this person has done? They've trained everybody, or they will be, to no longer be expecting door-to-door service. It's not really door-to-door, but, basically. And now they're training them to come to a central location. So, by doing this, they are going to lose a couple customers here and there, but they're also going to lose a lot of wear and tear on that truck. They're going to not need as much idle time because, you stop for one kid, you're not going to turn your engine off. There is a law about that. After 2 minutes, who's going to call the cops on the ice cream man, ice cream woman, ice cream truck? Sorry, I'm a product of my generation, and sometimes I forget to be inclusive. But it's really smart. Give them a taste of what they want, and it's enough of a treat. Like, this person came around, like I said, 4 times this year, so March and April were disasters, so in the last month, let's say. So you get kids excited, they hear the bells, it's like a Pavlovian experiment. And eventually, the dogs start drooling, and the kids start running, because they know they need to be there to get their fix on ice cream. Wish more businesses operated that way. See, there's this old saying that bugs the hell out of me. The customer is always right. Now, this does not mean what you think it means. Managers have co-opted this expression to make it seem like, oh, whatever the customer wants, we give it to them. Oh, we got to keep them happy no matter what. No, that's not what it means. What it means is if you bring out a new product and nobody buys it, the customer is always right. They don't want it. You have your marketing budget, you have all that sort of things. And yeah, that's where the customer is always right. If they don't want your service, they're not going to use it. Case in point, the ice cream man. Ice cream person, ice cream truck. They have managed to train a group of younger people. I've seen adults eat ice cream as well. Like I said, who doesn't like it? They've established a demand. They've established it as a product where it's an exclusive thing. It's a treat when it shows up, and people are happy rather than saying, you weren't here yesterday. They've manipulated the customer to do what they want. And that's what the big companies do to you. No one's really born with a preference for Coca-Cola or Pepsi. But you know what? People establish a preference fairly early on in life. The fact is, some people brew their own cola at home. And whatever they choose, whether it's to buy Coca-Cola, whether to buy Pepsi, whether to buy RC Cola, if you can even find such a thing, or any other substitute, the customer is always right. Remember New Coke? Maybe you're not that old. But basically, Coke came up with a new formula that basically tasted like Pepsi, and customers rejected it in droves. And that's when they went back to Coca-Cola Classic, the original formula with a couple alterations. And the reason was because the customer was right. They were not going to buy New Coke. They were done. Burger King brings out that angry Whopper once in a while, and it goes away pretty quickly. McDonald's with the McRib. They bring that in because they know they can create a demand for it. Whereas if they have it on every day, the sales drop dramatically. You have to sell it as an exclusive product. Otherwise, it simply doesn't work for anybody. The customer's always right, but you can manipulate a customer's opinions. So when you're there, working at your desk, answering phone calls, whatever it is, face-to-face with somebody who's a bit of a bozo, and somebody repeats to you, oh, the customer's always right. No, that doesn't mean the customer is right in every single thing they want. To quote Ben Affleck in the movie Mallrats, the customer is always an asshole. That tends to be true more of the time. We need to bring this expression back to its roots. We need to let people remember that, hey, the customer is always right is in terms of marketing a product, not in terms of daily customer service. We all have that one customer who wants the one-time exemption or whatever it is, and if it's in our power, as a human being, we should do it. But if you have that sneaky little manager leaning over your shoulder and saying, the customer's always right, you have to do it, then that's not a job you need to be in. I know jobs are not the easiest things to come by at the present time, but what's your dignity worth? I've had good managers and I've had bad managers. I've had managers that let me work people over like the ice cream guy. girl truck. And I respect that kind of marketing. It really is a fantastic way to maintain exclusivity of your product. Like I said, you do favors for people once in a while, but if you do them every day, then the exception becomes the norm and you're the one left holding the bag. Or even worse, you take a holiday and the next person tells them no, and now it gets escalated. Customer is not always right when it comes to customer service. It's only in marketing. And if your product just isn't there, it doesn't have a market, guess what? It's not going anywhere, and you're going to be stuck with however many units of inventory that you made. So let's keep that straight about ice cream and the customer always being right. Everybody makes ice cream. If nobody's buying yours, there's a reason for it. Either your formula sucks, or you didn't market it properly. Again, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. No one's born with a preference for either. You kind of fall into one or the other camps. And if Coca-Cola or Pepsi ever wants to sponsor me, I would be more than willing to talk. But anyways, we wish to thank you for joining us on the Silverlight Show. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe. I guess at some point I'll start putting links back in the description, but I'm just trying to get back in the habit of actually doing these shows because, well, I had an experience, a business experience. I helped build a website and, contribute articles and stuff, but you know what? The customers just simply weren't coming out. So I put 3 months of my work into it, and the customer was right. And I just got tired of being the one, I don't want to say doing all the work, but a vast majority of the contributions. There was other work behind the scenes. We're not going to get into that, though. We're going to let that die in the past because the customer was right. There was no demand for that service, even though it's successful out where our service was not in demand. I can accept that. Anyways, thank you for joining us on the Silverlight Show, and we hope you have a fantastic day.